tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
I'm back. Didn't take long, 20 minutes. So, yeah, thanks for letting me do that one earlier. It's already at 19 downloads. I'm like really enjoying this. Maybe a little too much. We're going to be in Language of the Heart today, which is, if you don't know what Language of the Heart is, it's a bunch of grapevine writings from Bill throughout the years. Been a while since Bill wrote in the grapevine. Yeah, hard to do when you're dead. So I'm just, if you're just listening, that sound is me pouring some soda into a cup. We got a Coke problem. So, and by Coke, I mean Coca-Cola. Yeah. In fact, earlier, my wife and I said love you at the same time, and I said, Jinx, buy me some Coke later while you're at the store. Jinx, buy me Coke. Alley-oop, alley-oop, whoop. On the alcoholism front. Yeah. When was it written? It's because there's some statistics in the beginning. 1958. We're told there are 4,500,000 alcoholics in America. Okay, let's go to Google here real quick. How many alcoholics are there in America? Now it's 28.9 million. So, and that and that hits it about right. 10% of people. 10% of the people. So 1 in every 10 people is alcoholic. Then maybe they may not be alcoholic yet, right? Because when it comes to, it says 1 in how many people are alcoholic? Let's go to that. 1 in 16. Okay. So 1 in 16 people. I'm glad we went and looked that up, right? So we kind of know what it is that we're working with. You know, really the question is, what is a success rate for a program, things like that. I know my success rate. My success rate is 100%. I'm talking from a sponsor standpoint. How am I 100% successful as a sponsor? I'm still sober. I cannot count other people's successes for me. But a success rate is based on something else. The type of, the type of stuff that you're implementing, longevity. That's where time is actually kind of useful. But I've been going live so much. It is 2/22 on 2/22/2005. 2025. That's a lot of twos, a lot of tutus. Welcome to Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. We're going to go ahead and just get started on this. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. I'm not anticipating anybody being here because a lot of people have already been watching me today. So I'm not too concerned with people. This is more informational. And it's kind of long. Not sure I'll get to all of it, but it is still 2/22 on 2/22. All right. On the alcoholism front, excuse me, I'm so sorry. March 1958 has had a couple of antacids, so I'm a little burpy. We are told that there are 4,500,000 alcoholics in America. Up to now, AA has sobered up probably up perhaps 250,000 of them. That's still pretty big. Yeah. That's about 1 in 20 or 5% of the total. This is a brave beginning full of significance and hope for those who still suffer. Yet, this figure shows that we made only a fair sized dent on the vast world health problem. Millions are still sick, and other millions soon will be. Okay. Now, that's just America. That is not the whole wide world, right? And I'm kind of wondering, um, let's ask this question, see if we can even get it. How many people are in Alcoholics Anonymous in America?
Here is information from Wikipedia.
Our membership as of 2021, so 4 years ago, was um was 1,967,613. So 2 million people in America. In America. Maybe is it that just America? I don't know. How big is AA now? 2 million. Today, so that is 2 million overall, worldwide then. Today, an AA presence can be found in approximately 180 nations with memberships estimated at over 2 million. There are more than 123,000 AA groups around the world, and it's been translated into over 100 languages. All right. These facts of alcoholism should give us good reason to think and to be humble. Surely we can be grateful for every agency or method that tries to solve the problem of alcoholism, whether medicine, religion, education, or research. We can be open minded toward all such efforts, and we can be sympathetic when the ill advised ones fail. We can remember that AA itself ran for years on trial and error. As individuals AAs, we can and should work with those that promise success, even a little success. I have to disagree, right? It is not the same anymore. Okay. I want to know your intentions. I want to know why you're doing what you're doing. See, recovery has become big business, and it shouldn't have. There shouldn't be competition. There's not competition in recovery. That goes against everything that we do. So when people are cutting down other programs or things like that, that's just not something I'm willing to jump in on. All right. Not anymore. So, you know, are they really trying to help? What are their intentions? And I'm going to leave that part at that. So, nor ought we allow our special convictions or prejudices to overcome our good sense and goodwill. For example, numbers of us think that alcoholism is mainly a spiritual problem. Therefore, we have little time for biochemists who would like us to believe that drunks drink mostly because they are bedeviled by a bad metabolism. I'm not against that. I actually understand that. Likewise, we are apt to get red hot with psychiatrists, wave aside all issues of right or wrong, and insist the real problem alcoholics always gathers around a neurotic compulsions which he innocently acquired as a child by reason of being maladjusted by erring parents. That too is also liable. I've met plenty of people. I know a lot of people that are recovered alcoholics that never went to AA. Never went to AA. It is it is not always a spiritual problem. I know and I tend to say, you know, any recovery void of a higher power is kind of failed to doom. In this sense, it's still true though. They will find something bigger than them, even if that means helping other people. That is bigger than them. Or when social workers say that true causes of alcoholism are to be seen in faulty social conditions, we're apt to get restive and say, who cares? Who cares a hang what the causes are anyway? AAs can fix drunks without getting into all that. That's not true. And that is a very closed-minded way to think about it. I just was speaking with a friend the other day who's a professional in the field, works at the county, and some peer coaches came in, and the first thing they said was, we alcoholics and addicts don't need professionals. And that is a bold, that I was going to say bold-faced lie, but they truly think that we need the professionals. Yes, we do. AA will not survive without the professionals. We won't. Not without friends of medicine and religion and law and politics and newspapers. Absolutely not. We will not. In a similar fashion, some of us AAs decree every attempt at therapy save our own. We point to certain clinics and committees that have accomplished little. We complain that huge sums of money are being wasted by state and private sources. I've done that. I still do. We roundly thump up every experimental drug that turns out badly. We belittle the attempts of men and women of religion to deal with us drunks. We believe that sound alcoholic education is a good thing, but we are also apt to think that AA indirectly is doing most of it anyhow. No, it is not. AA is not doing all of that. That would be a bad assumption. Okay. I'll tell you what I think AA is. It's a good start. It is a good start. There's a lot of places out there because what's the opposite of addiction? The opposite of addiction is fellowship, it's community, it's brotherhood. And that does not mean AA. Maybe somebody just has a hard time with our tenets. That's okay. It is all right. Now this may seem to be a confession of the sins of AA, and in some part it is. It is also a confession that one time or another, I have myself held many of these often short sighted views and prejudices, but I do make haste to add that what I've just said applies far more to AA's past than to the present. Yeah, we figured it out. Okay? So when it comes to me as an AA member, I am to cooperate, never criticize. Okay? I'm to cooperate. Those are in the AA meetings. I'm not in an AA meeting right now. I'm not an AA member right now. I'm Dion, a recovered alcoholic who has his experiences. Okay? But it cannot go beyond that. There's a new drug out. Not it's well, it's kind of new. I think Nextone, something like that. I know I'm saying it wrong. Right? And it does help alcoholics with their cravings. It does help. Okay. Some have even gone as far to say that it's making people into normal drinkers. Okay. Now, I do understand the concept, but my brain itself cannot understand how that would happen. It does not need to know. The success rate is there. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that fact. Okay. Do I want it to be true? There's a part of me that does not want that. Because then there'll be less people in AA and I'm selfish. That would be the reason why. Today, the vast majority of us welcome any new light that can be thrown on the alcoholic's mysterious and baffling malady. We don't care too much whether new and valuable knowledge issues from a test tube, a psychiatrist's couch, or from revealing social studies. We are glad of any kind of education that accurately informs, the public and changes this old attitude towards the drunk. More and more, we regard all who labor in the total field of alcoholism as our companions on a march from darkness into light. We see that we can accomplish together what we could never accomplish in separation and in rivalry. There it is. We can't be divided. We can't be separated like that. That's not cool. Okay. If you really want to be of help, then understand the other programs out there. Because you might have a sponsee that maybe they just can't get through the 4-step the way that we do it. Maybe they're caught up on God. Well, just because somebody is caught up on the God concept doesn't mean that they don't deserve the same shot at recovery. Send them to smart recovery then. Okay. Maybe you have somebody who's like, oh, you guys are spiritual, but I'm more religious. I'd rather, I want to talk about Jesus. You bet I do. I love Jesus. Send them to celebrate recovery where they do Jesus. People always say how AA forces you to not be atheist or agnostic, and that's not true. No, it is not. There's a whole chapter on it. It says in there, you get to believe what you want to believe. I know a ton of atheists and agnostics in the program. We have a program called AA Agnostica. Send them there. Those people will, it's about setting them up with the people that understand them the best. That's all it is. And I do not know what is best for everyone. I do not. Preoccupied with AA and its affairs, I must admit that I've given up too little thought to the total alcohol problem. But I do have a glimpse of it, and that glimpse I would like to share with you. Take those 4,500,000 drunks in America. What is their condition now? What is being done, and what might be done for them? What about the next generation? Yet another 4 million who are still children and adolescents, accepting for what AA can do. Must they be victims too? That is a great question. That is a fantastic question. One that we should continue to be open-minded to. All right. Now you're going to hear me say certain things like, we're born, see, it's my experience that I was born with alcoholism. I was born with this mental illness. Does that mean it is true of everyone? No, it does not. Okay. What works for me may not work for other people. I think I forgot to plug my fridge back in. So if you could excuse me, I'm going to do that right now. Thank you. It's one of those things where if you remember it, you better do it now. All right. Let's start at the bottom of the heap. Our mental institutions are flooded with the brain damaged and deeply psychopathic. Here and there, a few find their way back, but not many. Most are beyond recall. The next world is their best hope. But many research upon their condition may add to our knowledge of prevention for the benefit of others who are approaching the jumping off place. Hey, Julia, it's good to see you. So what would we call that now? Well, we call it prevention, right? When my mom got sober, I was 13 and she had me go to Alateen. And I learned a lot in Alateen about the alcoholic. Little did I know that they were talking to me. Okay, they were talking to me. And because of Alateen, I stayed away from hard drugs, man. Alateen saved my life, right? So can we save people? And I don't know the answer to this question. Gosh, I hope it's yes, because it's hard for me to think that I'm going to be able to break a generational cycle for something that I was born with. right? But that's my own experience. Not everybody goes through it that way. Huh. So is it possible? I would think so. I would think so. I would hope so. Let's go. I'm going to go with hope. I don't know enough. What I have is my experience and listening to other people. And it would be hard to break a mental illness that somebody is born with, like schizophrenia. Can you break a generational cycle of schizophrenia? No, you cannot. But what we can avoid, what we can break is the anger, the manipulation, the hurting of the children and our families. That we can. And I know because I've done it. I've done it. Through the help of AA and God and therapy and professionals and doctors and all sorts of people. God's children. We'll just call them that. More research upon their condition may add to our knowledge of prevention for the benefit of others who are approaching the jumping off place. Great numbers of alcoholics are also found in prisons. Either alcohol directly got them into jams that landed them there, or they had to drink in order to commit their crimes towards which they had compulsive tendencies. Here, research, medical, psychiatrist, and social is plainly needed. AA can't do this job. Thank you, Bill. AA can't do this job, but others have already made a great beginning. I've made a great beginning. I'm diagnosed with 4 mental illnesses. I'm not on any psych meds. I'm proud of myself for that. I worked hard to get there. It's one thing that really helped with my self-esteem was getting through that. Now, I'm not there again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist. There are some people that are going to need to be on psych meds for the rest of their lives. But the key there is it evens them out so they can do the work, build up their self-esteem and become a better person. And then they can break those generational curses. In fact, I have found that the people with mental illnesses are the people that make the great beginnings. Every large city has its Skid Row, the so-called derelict alcoholic, doubtless number of several hundreds of thousands. Some are psycho, and so damage it that the mental hospital is their destination. The rest of these countless men and women clog up police blotters, courts, jails, and hospitals. To them, the cost of suffering is incalculable. The cost to society, even in dollars only, is immense. Huge numbers of these, not legally insane, are thus condemned to mill hopelessly about. Can anything be done? In all probability, yes. Perhaps these sufferers can be transferred to farms where there's some sort of quarantine confinement. They can do enough work to support themselves, be in better health, and save their respective cities great sums in trouble. This and other related experience are beginning to offer much more hope for the skid rower. Individuals AA helping, but most of the work and the money will have to come from elsewhere, right? Those would be treatment centers. It used to be everybody was lumped into the insane asylum. That's where we got lumped, okay? Because alcoholism looks like a lot of other mental illnesses, and since an alcoholic can't be honest, they're going to diagnose you with something like neuroticism before they're going to get to the alcoholism because they don't know that you're drinking. Of course, they kind of do because you reek of alcohol. All right. Oh, by the way, you can smell vodka, just so you know. Just thought you can smell vodka. Now, the thing is treatment used to be real good, and it used to be for everybody, and it was kind of divided up. Now, treatment's kind of, at least in Colorado, is big business, and they lump everybody together again. Well, there again, it's just back to the same problem of putting everybody in the same insane asylum and that's what I call throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks. That's what I would call that. Okay. So there are a lot of places that are specific for alcoholism and drug addiction. Absolutely. Okay. But if you have a treatment center, it's probably best to divide the alcoholics from the drug addicts. They talk different. Now, can they have the same chance put together? They can, but there's going to be a lot more distractions. There's going to be more distractions. If we're really going to give that person help, it needs to be kind of individualized. There is no one size fits all in AA or any other program. It can't work that way. What now the millions of alcoholics who haven't hit prisons, asylums, or skid rows? That's about 80% of the people in the program. Yeah. And that is good news. That is really good news. That means that we are getting to them before they get to those last 10, 15 years of literal hell. So if you're a little bit younger, you got some time under your belt, good fucking job. You're the up and coming people. You're the people that's going to make the next movement. My time's now. You're next. Okay. These, we are told, constitute the vast majority. Yeah. At the moment, their best hope of recovery seems to be AA. Well, then why haven't these millions come to us? Or why haven't they tried to get well by some other method? Any AA can give you a quick and very accurate answer. They aren't ready. They don't know how sick they really are. If they did, they would flock to treatment, just as though they had diabetes or cancer. The problem, therefore, is how to expose them to the facts that will convince them they are gravely ill. It's going to be tough to do that. There's too much information out there. TMI. There's too much TMI. Way too much. Okay. And a lot of it is false. So it's kind of hard. So how are we gonna get them before they are gravely ill? You know. So let's take a different look at it. Let's put this up real quick. Julia says, almost a year with mental illness. That is a second job. Yes, it is. It is a part-time job and another full-time job in recovery. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It is. And good job. Good job. You've come a long way. You've come a long way. So what about those places out there that I'm complaining about at the present moment? Okay. What if, they do go to the program and they end up seeing that they are an alcoholic, that their life is unmanageable? What about that, Dion? So are they doing some good? Yep. No matter how much I want them to shut down, no matter how much I want them to shut the fuck up, because a lot of times I do, okay, they are helping. If it means 3-4 years later they end up in a place that can really truly help them, then that person did do their job. Got to give them that, right? Doesn't mean their intentions are okay, but at least that got to happen. And we call that planting the seed. We do. Yeah. Sponsees that I have that are also in therapy, I make sure that their therapist loves me. I've been in therapy long enough that I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I know you're trying to get to somewhere. So I'm going to, and a person that's been in therapy for a while, and I don't hide it. I tell them, hey, what are some things you're working on in therapy? Well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the steps and my knowledge and my education and my experience to help bolster that. Yes, I am. So that what they're doing with me coincides with what they're doing in therapy. It's where I'm a little different, that I get to do things a little differently. More than anything, I probably should start wrapping this up. Let's see. Oh yeah, this still got 4 pages. So, all right. More than anything, the answer seems to be in education. I would agree with that. Education in schoolrooms, in medical colleges, among clergy and employers, in families, and in the public at large. From cradle to grave, the drunk and the potential alcoholic will have to be completely surrounded by true, and deep understanding, and by the continuous barrage of information, the facts about his illness, its symptoms, its grim seriousness. Why should an alcoholic have to wait until he is 55 and be horribly mangled to find out that he is a very sick person when education of the right kind could have convinced him at 30 or 35, or even 20 and 25, or maybe even 13 or 15? I've always known I was an alcoholic. I've always known. Okay. I did not try, not one point in my drinking career did I cut back. Not one point did I switch or anything else. Not once did I try and drink like a normal person because I knew I wasn't. So I drank on the fuckets the whole time. Now I would change who I was to try and fit in. That I did. Absolutely. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the last couple paragraphs of this chapter, or of this, this chapter. Their combined efforts, often sparked AAs, have since flowered to this general effect. I don't know what the effect is, so I apologize. But I have a feeling it has to do with universities, because before this, there's a lot of things about Dr. Haggard. All right, and published a quarterly journal on the studies of alcohol. 4 universities are now running replicas of Yale School. 3,000 public and private hospitals have been open to alcoholics. That would be treatment. Industry is revolutionizing its attitude towards alcoholic employees. Penal institution, police, and judges alike have taken new heart. Citizens committees in large numbers are attacking the total problem in their several communities. Over 30 U.S. states and the majority of Canadian provinces have a program of rehabilitation and treatment. Many clergy groups are educating their co-workers. Psychiatric research and treatment is telling strides. 2 test tube devotees are working hopefully in their laboratories. The American Medical Association has declared alcoholism to be a chronic illness and has activated its own committee on alcoholism. All right. That is now called NADAC. And they failed in their job. As much as I would like to give compliments right now, they failed at their job. They no longer see it as a mental illness. Now they're calling it a disorder. Okay. The only thing NADAC has done in the last 20 years is come up with another name to call us. There's nothing wrong with alcoholism. There's nothing wrong with the word. That is opinion. That is entirely opinion. Maybe you'd prefer disorder. Medical colleges are beginning to include this subject in their courses. Sparked by Bunky, the World Health Organization is carrying all this good news around the world. School textbooks are being modernized. In the cause of general education, the press, radio, and television are pouring out floods of it daily. This has all happened in 28 years since Dr. Haggard first decided to find out what makes drunks tick. Every one of these pioneers in the total field will generously say that it had not been for the living proof of recovery in AA, they could not have gone on. AA was the lodestar of hope and help that kept them intact. So all these people out here cutting down AA should be thanking AA for the fact that they get to do what they're doing. So a little respect, my friends. Okay. All right. Either that or just keep AA out of your darn mouth. There you go. All right. But it just bears repeating. There is no competition or division in recovery. And if there is, then it's business, not recovery. So let's work alongside all these projects that promise to hasten the recovery of those millions who have not yet found their way. These varied labors do not need our special endorsement. They need only helping hands as individuals as we can possibly give it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good day. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And